Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to tackle the final epic speech of Moses, which you can find in the book of Deuteronomy. And believe it or not, it holds this incredible hidden message about how you take a life-changing spiritual moment and actually make it work in the real world, in your daily life.
Okay, so let's get into it. The thing you have to know is that Deuteronomy isn't just a list of rules. The whole book is really one single massive speech, and it kicks off with a genuine puzzle.
So Moses starts his grand finale, and you'd think he'd begin with the highlight reel, right? The glory of getting the Torah at Mount Sinai. But he doesn't. He starts by reminding people of this really strange command God gave them right after it happened. Time to leave. This was the site of the greatest revelation in their history. So why would the very first order of business be to pack up and get out?
To figure this out, we have to wrap our heads around the two completely different worlds the Israelites were moving between. And this isn't just about changing location. It's about shifting from one kind of reality to a totally different one.
You see, for 40 years in the desert, their whole life was what our source material calls anti-existential. It was a life that just defied all the normal rules. It basically ran on cheat codes sustained entirely by constant, direct miracles.
And this contrast, it's everything. On one side, you've got the desert life. Manna just shows up from the sky, so no farming. Your clothes and shoes literally never wear out, so no need to make or mend things. There's this constant, direct feeling of a divine presence. And on the flip side is the life that's waiting for them, which is, real life. It's about farming, building a society, settling down, and dealing with all the messy, unpredictable stuff that comes with just being human.
And the absolute high point of this whole miracle-fueled life was the experience at Sinai. This wasn't just another miracle, this was the main event. It was an encounter so profound, it literally bent the rules of what was possible for people to experience.
I mean, Moses himself drives this point home. He asked them basically, has any other nation ever heard God speak directly from a fire and lived to tell the tale? The answer, of course, is no. He's saying, you guys went through something that, by all rights, should have been impossible to survive.
And this reaction really tells you everything. The whole experience was so intense, so overwhelming, that the people themselves begged for it to stop. They were literally afraid for their lives.
So here's the crucial idea. That ultimate spiritual high was, by its very nature, not meant for everyday living. It wasn't sustainable. You couldn't just hang out in that state forever. Its purpose wasn't to be a permanent reality, but to become a foundational memory, something to be forged into the soul of the nation.
And that brings us right back to that bizarre command that Moses starts his speech with, the order to leave the holy mountain.
According to the source, God's instruction after all the fireworks at Sinai wasn't just, all right, let's move on. It was specifically, return to your tents. It was a command to go back to the small, the ordinary, the very human spaces of their lives.
So the journey from that mountain wasn't just a few miles on a map. It was this huge psychological and spiritual shift. It was about coming down from a state of pure transcendence and getting back to the reality of family and work and community.
So what was the real point of Moses' speech then? Well, this is where we start to unlock the core of his entire mission in his final days.
So the Bible says Moses began to explain. The Hebrew word is be'er, the Torah, and the source we're looking at argues this one word is the key to the whole thing. It doesn't just mean repeat, it means to clarify, to adapt, to shed new light on something to make it understandable.
So you see, Moses wasn't just giving them a boring lecture, rereading the law book. His entire speech was this massive act of translation. He was taking the divine, abstract, cosmic Torah they got in a miraculous state and figuring out, okay, how do we actually make this work for a real, grounded life on Earth?
You can think of the whole process in 3 basic steps. First, you have the peak Sinai experience, that transcendent revelation. Second, you have Moses' speech, the Be'ur, which is basically the instruction manual. And finally, you have life in the Promised Land, which is the arena where you actually apply those instructions. He was giving them the tools to embed an extraordinary memory into the fabric of an ordinary society. But Moses' final lesson goes one massive step further. He makes it crystal clear That this whole project isn't about some distant past or some far-off future. It's about right here, right now.
He teaches them that their entire 40 years of wandering wasn't real life in and of itself. It was a long, hard training montage, you know? It was the preparation for the main event, for the real thing, which was just about to start.
And man, does he hammer this point home. When he's describing the covenant at Sinai, he insists, it was made not with our fathers, but with us. He keeps repeating these words, we who are here, today, all of us alive. He's basically grabbing them by the shoulders, yanking this historic event right into their immediate present reality.
And that's the big reveal, isn't it? The entire purpose of that whole desert saga was to get them ready to truly live, fully, in the present moment. To stop looking backward at past miracles or dreaming about a future destination, and to just start living. Now,
And this all builds to his ultimate challenge. He tells them that life isn't just something that happens to you. It's not a given. It is a conscious, active, daily choice you have to make.
So, to choose life in this context really means to take that earth-shattering memory of Sinai, that transcendent, impossible moment, and use it as the blueprint for building a meaningful, ethical, and grounded ordinary life. That was the whole point of the journey.
and this really gets at the timeless lesson at the heart of Moses' speech. The real challenge of life isn't about chasing those peak experiences. It's about what you do after they happen. It's about learning how to integrate our most profound moments into the simple, sacred, and very real act of living, starting today.